Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Pankaj Hans. I am sitting with my colleague Dr. Ved Prakash, and we welcome you all on behalf of Asian Hospital in today's webinar about laparoscopic surgery in COVID pandemic and what is our experience about that. I am seeing many people joining this webinar. So while they are joining, let me share an incident with you. I think many of you can relate to it. This incident is important for you also. So a few days back, in my OPD, one of my patient came with severe pain in abdomen. When I examined him, and I thought it was a case of gallbladder inflammation, and some stone has stuck in the gallbladder. I asked for some investigation and ultrasound. That patient went for ultrasonography, and when he came back, I saw the report, and my suspicion was right. He was having gallbladder stones, and the gallbladder was inflamed. We call it polycystitis. As a doctor, I advised him that he should get himself admitted in the hospital and will do surgery and will remove the gallbladder as soon as possible. But as I advised him, his reaction was, अरे डॉक्टर साहब कैसे अभी तो कोरोना का टाइम चल रहा है, अब मैं कैसे एडमिट हो सकता हूँ? सर्जरी सर्जरी तो इस समय मैं कराऊंगा ही नहीं, कुछ भी हो जाए आप, मैं एडमिट नहीं होऊंगा, आप मुझे मेडिसिन दे दीजिए. I convinced him, I told him that, see, we have 2 3 days time, which is a safe period for doing gallbladder surgery. After that, the surgery will become difficult and the outcome is also not that good. But वो कन्विंस नहीं हो पा रहे थे, उनको बहुत डर था हॉस्पिटल में रहने का. ओके, मैंने उनको मेडिसिन लिखा एंड ही वेंट बैक. After like 4 5 days after, in the night, I got a call from emergency, and the CMO told me, sir, there is a patient from he's your previous patient, and he came with acute pain. You have already seen him. Can you please come? When I went there, I saw he was the same patient. He was having fever, acute pain. He was tossing up in bed, and क्या हो सकता है उसमें, जो उनका गॉलब्लैडर में स्टोन था उसकी वजह से उनको काफ़ी इन्फेक्शन हो चुका था और पस बनने के चांस थे. अब इस सिनेरियो में ये सर्जरी जो है एक इमरजेंसी सर्जरी हो जाती है, और आउटकम भी, क्योंकि वो हमने सही टाइम पे नहीं किया, हमने उसको डिले किया, उसका आउटकम भी उतना अच्छा नहीं होता है जितना अच्छा हम कर सकते हैं. कई बार ऐसी सर्जरीज भी लैप्रोस्कोपिक जो हम टेक्निक से करते हैं उनमें ज़्यादा चांसेस होते हैं कि लैप्रोस्कोपिक से हम ओपन टेक्निक में उसको कन्वर्ट करें. But we succeeded in doing that surgery, but we had to do that surgery in as an emergency case, and we were taking a lot of risk in doing that. So this is the purpose of doing this webinar. Me and Dr. Ved Prakash are here so that we can tell you that surgery is safe अगर हम उसको सही टाइम पे लें और सही तरीके से करें. कोविड और नॉन कोविड, कभी भी जो सर्जरीज या जो बीमारियां जिनके लिए सर्जरीज चाहिए, अगर हम उनको डिले करते हैं और अल्टीमेटली आप लोग किसी इमरजेंसी में लैंड करते हैं, उस समय वो सर्जरीज के ना तो आउटकम वैसे होते हैं, और हम हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स को भी, क्योंकि हम इमरजेंसी में आपको ऑपरेट कर रहे होते हैं, हमारे पास आपकी रिपोर्ट्स नहीं होती, तो वो चीज़ें हमारे लिए बहुत रिस्की हो जाती हैं. तो इट इज़ नॉट सेफ फॉर बोथ द पेशेंट एंड द डॉक्टर्स. So we are starting this webinar with the presentation.
I just welcome all of you. I am Dr. Ved Prakash, and what the Dr. Pankaj has told you, narrating a story, this is just to an eye opener to all the patients who are delaying their elective surgeries, that they may got COVID infection once they go to the hospital. And in surgery, the main point is that any elective surgery can turn into an emergency surgery at any point of time. This is the drawback of any surgical patient. If he is carrying the gallbladder stone, he may turn into gallbladder pus formation, that is called empyema. He may turn into sepsis. appendix inflammation, hematous appendicular perforation, hernia get obstructed. So any type of surgery can get complicated, and keeping the patient health at risk, not only their health is at risk, the surgery is going to be very, very difficult, and we are facing this problem on day-to-day basis. So in another 15-20 minutes time, Dr. Pankaj will show the details of the surgery, how we perform, how we go, how we will move. So how is it safe? Is it safe or not? This is the main question what the community is asking. So Pankaj, please continue.
Thank you, sir. In today's webinar, we are not discussing here about the corona pandemic, or we are not going into the intricacies of corona pandemic. This is a general awareness webinar, so that people can see how safe is the hospital, and then they have to weigh whether delaying the surgery is okay, or whether taking the risk and coming to hospital is okay. That is up to you people. We are here to just guide you through our experience. So this is Dr. Ved Prakash. He is the director of the Department General Minimal Invasive and Metabolic Bariatric Surgery, and I am senior consultant and head of Unit 2, Minimal Invasive Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. So COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic, the word has come from coronavirus disease 2019. Actually, corona is a Latin word which means crown because of the shape of this virus, and it causes severe acute respiratory syndrome like illness. And this outbreak was first identified in Wuhan in China in December 2019, and we all know about this corona 19 pandemic now, because there is lot of information available on each and every social media, Facebook, sites, newspapers, everywhere. And now it has become a pandemic which is affecting each and every sector of industries, healthcare department in all over the world. Till now, 11.9 million people are affected with this COVID-19 pandemic. Out of these, 6.53 million have recovered, and there are 0.54 million deaths has occurred because of this pandemic. This is very important, and this is we have to know. This is very important for us to know how it spreads, because there are a lot of myths also. How it spreads is very important, so that we can keep us safe from this infection. So the most common way in which it spreads is by close contact. If a person is having symptoms of COVID-19 disease, if that patient is infected with COVID-19 infection, and if another person is sitting with him without any proper mask or social distancing, this is the direct contact. The droplets from that person can spread directly to the unaffected, to the normal person, and that person also can get infection through droplets. These droplets are usually does not form does not go in the air, but sometimes in a closed room where the ventilation is very poor, these droplets can remain for a longer duration in that room. And if some other person comes inside that room without a mask or without wearing the proper equipments, that person can get infected. That is airborne way. And the third way is fomite. If I am speaking without mask and I am having coronavirus infection, my even with talking, the fomites can come up to this table, and if somebody else come here and sit at my place and he just touches this table, he can get infection. This is the surface contact. So there are three main reasons how it spreads: close contact, surface contact, and the airborne. So, what is the infection period? What is most infective period of this coronavirus pandemic? It is most contagious during the first 3 days after the onset of symptoms. This is very important. If a patient is having symptoms and you have remained in the very close contact with that person in first 3 days, you may get coronavirus infection. Although the spread is possible before symptom appear, like it has been seen that the 2 or 3 days before also patient can spread this infection, and sometimes asymptomatic patients who do not show any symptoms can spread this infection. So this is the most I think we must fear from these kind of patients, because we can't judge whether a patient is having coronavirus disease or not, because they are not showing any symptoms, but they can spread the infection. So this COVID-19 pandemic has put a lot of impact on everybody's life. Everybody's life. There are negative impacts also, but there are some positive impacts also. As we can see, the social and economic disruption is there everywhere. All the industries were closed. The work in all the offices was stopped because of the lockdown. There was panic buying, widespread shortage of basic supplies, and all the functions, all the marriages, all the celebrations were postponed, and there is closure of schools, colleges, and universities. All the students are sitting at home and taking online classes. But there are some positive aspects also, like we have less pollution, cleaner air, less traffic. Our Ganga and Yamuna river are cleaner than before. And in the same way, there are certain positive changes happen in healthcare industry also. The healthcare has evolved, and we have inculcated better habits. So what is the indirect healthcare impact of the COVID? Like Dr. Ved has already told you that our practice basically was more of elective surgeries than emergency surgeries, because we don't give a long waiting period to our patient. But in COVID pandemic, all the health system and our practice has changed. Like in the initial days when it was locked down, we have completely stopped doing elective surgeries, and at that time, patient was not was afraid to come to the hospital, even it was necessary. The waiting period increased, but after a few days, because many patients needed surgery at that time, but they were just delaying because of the COVID-19 pandemic. What happened after that? Many patients out of them landed up in emergency. A surgery which has been planned, which could have been planned, now had to be done in emergency, which was resulted in increased risk to the patient also in terms of outcome for the surgery, and increased risk to the medical staff, as because they have landed up in emergency and we were not able to get them tested before doing surgery. So this was the health impact came after COVID-19 pandemic. So why elective surgeries were on hold, Dr. Ved?
Why? This is the question. Why this should be hold? Is there any specific reason? I would like to love the answer question asked by you after the end of this session, and I will try to just combat your queries. Why this elective surgery should be on hold? We are keeping a great backlog of this elective surgery, and what is happening? If you are not planning for a surgery, that means you are landing and you are increasing the risk to land in a emergency situation. And this is happening. We are seeing from 2 months time, we are seeing a lot of patients who can manage in 1 day time. They are staying in our hospital for 4 days, 5 days, and all the parameters, blood parameters, is not up to the mark, and we have to give a lot of medicine to control of these parameter. And once they get control, then we put the patient to surgery. Their recovery time is prolonged. So I don't think any fear to just going to delay the surgery due to COVID. You should must understand that this COVID is not going in a very shorter time. This is going to be continue for a longer time, and how long it should continue, anybody has no idea. It may continue for all of this year. It may continue for another year as well. So, if we are taking the precaution, if your hospital is equipped to deal with all these type of precaution that reduces the risk of getting COVID infection, then we should not hold the surgery anymore.
Very right, Dr. Ved, very right. And the whole idea to put all these elective surgeries on hold in the initial period of lockdown to contain COVID-19 infection and to conserve resources. Resources like PPE. PPE means personal protective equipments, which were at the time they were in short supply. They were coming from China, and the ventilators. They were also were in short supply because nobody was knowing what will happen if the virus spreads like anything. Because India is the most populous country, and we don't have a good healthcare system in India like other countries, America and Italy and France. But those countries were also suffering from COVID-19 pandemic very badly. So our government brought this lockdown to prepare the infrastructure so that they can manage, they can first understand, and then they can manage all these patients. So now I think we have whatever knowledge we have gained in last 3 months. I can say that we have a better understanding of this disease now, because the timely lockdown has helped us a lot to gather the knowledge and in understanding the disease, like how it spreads, how to contain infection, and how to manage the infection and infected people. And it has helped us to create an infrastructure to manage this highly contagious disease. Not all over the, I'm not talking about just this hospital. In all over the country, the government has made certain infrastructure changes. They have made certain hospitals to manage COVID-19 infection. A biggest hospital to manage this COVID-19 infection is open in has just opened in Delhi to cater 10,000 COVID-19 infections. So this was the things which the government has done to manage this COVID-19 pandemic. So out of all these things, these three things are the most important, which everyone should do if he or she wants to prevent from want to get away from COVID-19 pandemic. Like first thing is, and is most important, is wear face mask. The second thing is maintain social distancing, like 2 meter distance. And third thing is hand hygiene. If any person is following these three things, he or she can stay away from the infection if he or she following these three things very religiously. Mask. There is a lot of confusion. Though this is not the main area of talk, but I want to include this thing in my in our presentation, because some people, they are coming to hospital and wearing cloth mask. Mask. There are, whenever we say mask, we always say surgical mask. This is the basic mask which we use while doing surgeries. And the third one is N95 mask. But people are coming to hospital with wearing cloth mask. Is it safe or not? Like surgical mask, it just act as a physical barrier, and it is a three-ply mask, but doesn't have very the edges are not very well fitted with the mouth, and air can come out and can go out. It just acts as a physical barrier. So the safety of this mask is just to protect the wearer from outside certain fumes or pollution. It is not as good as N95 respirator, which has fitting, like we both are wearing. We are wearing N95 mask. The edges are completely closed. We don't have any air leak on the sides. This is the mask which we wear when we come to hospital, because many patients from other side also, they are covering. Maybe they are asymptomatic, so we need to wear this mask.
But at the same time, I would like to emphasize that you should not wear N95. This is only for professionals.
Yes.
Because we are at very high risk of COVID infection. So we should wear the N95 respirator during surgery, or N95 mask during consultation. But you just wear the surgical mask, that is sufficient for you, because COVID-19 virus particle is, I think, not so small that it can pass. It is a bit much bigger comparative to SARS virus and others. So it's just wearing a surgical mask is sufficient for you.
Yes, surgical mask is better than the cloth mask. We should wear a surgical mask at least while coming to hospital. Non-medical mask or cloth mask are not effective as these two masks are. If a person is wearing a non-medical mask or cloth mask, he should have to follow all these things like social distancing, regular hand washing, avoid touching his or her face, and he has to maintain cleaning the surface regularly. He has to maintain his respiratory hygiene also if they are wearing cloth or cloth mask, non-medical mask. So our hospital is safe, and how can we protect you? Yes, the further slides are we are showing is about that only. But what we expect from the general public who is coming to hospital is to follow these 5 steps. What is the 5 steps are? What are the 5 steps? First is wear a protective mask, either N95 or the surgical mask. Keep your personal belongings to minimum. Whenever you come to hospital, don't bring large bags, don't bring so many things along with. Just keep minimum possible things along with you. And whenever you come to consult a physician or a surgeon, you always sanitize your hands, do practical social distancing, and always carry a small pouch of sanitizer. If you feel that you have touched a door, just sanitize your hand. That is we expect from the general public. Our hospital is a COVID safe zone, and we are all set to deal with COVID-19 pandemic. How? We are going to show you this. Dr. Ved.
Uh, we have COVID patient in just another unit of this hospital. This is completely away from the mainstream. The COVID ward is nothing to do with the general circulation, general movement of the public. It has completely segregated from the main hospital unit. It has separate lift, it has separate staff. Every food that we carry that ward is separate. The movement of all the people who are going to the COVID is not coming into the general areas. The lift which is operating is only reserved for the COVID ward. So, what you are, if you come to see in our hospital, you just recognize yourself that you should know any interaction with the COVID patient. You hardly know about where this COVID ward is, because everything is completely get blocked to the general public. So the area where you are moving is complete safe zone. We have tried to keep this area COVID safe zone.
Yes, from the starting, from the gate level, like we have two entry gates from the outside. Gate one is dedicated to the fever patients, like the patients who are having fever, cough, or any other symptoms that can be of COVID-19 infection. Those patients directly go into gate one, because our hospital staff are standing there, and they are educating, they are asking them whether they are having these infection, these symptoms or not. So from gate one, they directly go to the fever clinic, and from gate two, this is the entrance of main hospital. And there, the other patients who don't have all these symptoms, they can come inside, and once they come inside, in the main hospital, we have maintained the hospital, we have divided the hospital into 3 zones: low risk, moderate risk, and high risk. And the staff, we have managed it according to their risk profile. Like in low risk area, the non-clinical staff like billing department or the registration staff, CRM staff, and security team is there, and we have advised them to wear mask and glove. Mask is surgical mask. The moderate risk areas are like our surgical OPDs, physician OPDs, and financial counseling, where people sit for quite a long time in front of either doctors or the staff. And there we have advised to wear face mask, shields, and gloves, like we sit in our OPD. And the high risk areas like emergency department, sample collection team, radiology team, our OTs or cath labs or the endoscopy or bronchoscopy team, there we advise for the staff to wear full PPE gear. And as soon as the patient enter into the hospital, this is the entrance of our main hospital. A staff is appointed there. He or she takes do the thermal scanning of every individual who is coming inside the hospital, and advice is being given to always wear face mask when in hospital, and that is more preferably to wear surgical mask. This is the OPD and billing registration. You can see the social distancing norms are being followed. On the floor also, there are all the it has been shown that no person can come beyond that point, and every person is standing at least 1 meter distance, at a distance of 1 meter. And the next slide is about how we maintain social distancing in waiting area. This is our waiting areas. Each and every person is sitting at a distance of 1 meter, facing back to the other patient. And between the two persons, there is a gap of at least 1 meter. The next slide is OPD consultation room, because after waiting, patient has to come into OPD, and you can see that when the patient sits in front of a doctor, there is proper, first of all, the gates, the doors of the OPDs are kept open so that patient doesn't touch that handle of the door, and the door is kept open for better ventilation. And social distancing, you can see a gap of at least 5 to 6 feet is there between doctor and the patient, and doctors always wear mask, they wear face shield, and they wear gloves while examining patients. And there is a minimum examination time to limit close contact between doctors and the patient, and there is always an option for online video consultation if the patient is coming for follow-up. This is the sample collection room, because whenever we see patient, if the patient has come for surgery, we will advise some investigation like blood samples or the radiological investigations, and this is a close contact area. So the staff who is sitting there in sample collection room always wear full PPE. Radiological investigation, ultrasound room, doctors always wear full PPE, and all machines are sanitized very regularly. Now, after going to radiology and the blood sample collection, now the reports will come to us, and if the patient needs any surgery, the procedure is decided. But then patient, if they fear and they ask us, are operation theatre safe? We want to tell you that yes, we have taken all precautionary and safety measures to take you to the operation theatre and to treat you. Just want to give you some more knowledge about our OTs. In our OT, there is a air circulation system inside the operation theatre. Like in normal days, we always maintain a positive pressure in OT. Positive pressure means when we are operating inside and door of the OT opens up, the pressure, the air from inside of the OT comes outside, so that no air from the outside come inside, so that the patient don't get infection. But in COVID-19 pandemic, we have changed our OTs to negative pressure OTs. Two OTs are dedicatedly are being done for COVID-19 patient, because we don't always get COVID negative patients. We can get patients in emergency whose status is unknown, and in that patient we have to operate them, and the OTs are dedicated for them, is having negative pressure in that. If suddenly the doors open, no air from OT comes out, rather it blocks the air at the entry, at the gate of that OT, so that infection doesn't go outside, neither infection can come inside. AHUs are always work. There is laminar flow which always works in our OT. There is a separate AHU system of the OTs, and from there the air goes in the atmosphere. Our anesthesia people are doing great work. They intubate patients whenever they get these type of patients who are suspected of having COVID-19 infection. They use these equipments to intubate them. If we in the inside the OT, if the patient COVID status is unknown, if we are doing emergency, we will wear full PPE. Full PPE means the PPE kit, the personal protective equipments. We wear face shields, masks, and if the patient status is COVID negative, we don't wear full PPE. We wear face masks, face shield, goggles, and sterile OT gowns. So in the OT, we are following the recommendations given by surgical societies. We are taking each and every step so that not even patient, our healthcare workers, our staff, doctors, anesthesia persons, even GDS should remain COVID free. We are taking all those precautions so that whatever patient we are treating, the next patient when the next patient comes in OT, that will also get the same clean environment. We are maintaining this safety in the hospital. Like when the patient is being intubated, we keep the number of staff during intubation to minimum. We minimize the number of staff during surgery. Like if we require two persons, like I'm operating and somebody is assisting, I will not allow the third member to come in inside the OT. We minimize the number of staff during surgery. The trocar site means from where we enter inside, we keep that site of incision to minimum so that no air leak from inside the abdomen comes outside. We maintain low pressure. This is all, this is something related with the doctors. Electrocautery, we set the power to low to avoid smoke formation, and we use all protective equipments in the operating room to prevent the smoke to come out. Whenever we finish our operation laparoscopic surgery, we deflate that air inside the abdomen through filter system. We don't let that air come out and come in the atmosphere, and so that it can't infect other persons in the OT. And before taking next patient in OT, all equipments are cleaned with disinfectants very thoroughly. So what are the advantages of laparoscopic surgery? Dr. Ved will give you some inputs.
I think we are just on the last slide. I think it is. There
Yeah,
is more
it is
slide.
going over.
So we will conclude that we should, if we are going to do a planned surgery, then laparoscopic surgery is 99.9% possible. And once you are went through the laparoscopic surgery, your stay, which is more important nowadays, you should stay in the hospital. It should be minimum. So minimal hospital stay. The other benefit, which is less pain and scar, is not visible, and you can return to your normal activity and your office. You can join everything. It is faster. So these are all are the benefit of the laparoscopic surgery, and you all know, because this is not new right now, and everybody is asking for laparoscopic surgery. So I'm not going into the details, but I would like to emphasize or tell you one thing, that you should not delay the surgery, because we have no idea how long this COVID is going to remain with us. So number one, that if you are carrying any surgical problem, you just think about that. You just go for consultation. You can take video consultation. If you are carrying the small lump which is persist for last 6 years, 7 years, you can delay those type of surgery. But if you are carrying the gallbladder stone, if you are carrying the hernia, if there is an appendix inflammation or any hemorrhoids or piles problem, you should not delay. Because once you land up in the emergency, everything will go reverse back, and you have to suffer a lot after getting the treatment. So number one, don't delay the surgery. Second thing, if we are going to take you for surgery, we must do your COVID test. Once your COVID test is negative, then only we will put you for the operation. Otherwise, if it is positive, then we will delay the surgery till you become COVID negative. And even after that, the surgery is emergency and you are COVID positive, then we have option of two dedicated operation theater, which Dr. Pankaj has already told you that it is under negative pressure. So we put this patient, taking all the precautions, we put this patient for emergency surgery as well. There is no restriction. We are not denying any patient of COVID which is require emergency surgery. We are doing that surgery also. But main emphasis is that you should go for elective surgery. Don't place yourself into the emergency surgery. Third thing is that once you inside the hospital, your visitor should be minimum. Nobody, no unwanted person should come to visit you because you may have chance of getting infection from that person only. So only one person is sufficient here. There are lot of staff, lot of nursing staff, paramedical staff who is taking care of you. You do not need any other person of your house to take care of yourself. So better to not to come with more and more people, more and more accompanying person. And once you get discharged, until unless we call you for some physical examination, then only you should come to visit hospital again. Otherwise, we have facilities of video consultation. We can take you can take the video consultation and we can prescribe the medicine and how long this medicine should continue and how when you are advised to visit the hospital, everything is possible on video consultation.
Yes, the point which Dr. Ved was telling, that after surgery, should you need to come to visit the hospital very frequently? No. If the patient is having laparoscopic surgery and we were able to put this subcuticular suture, like the no sutures outside, we put suture inside. There is no need to come to visit the hospital for removal of sutures. Even if you are having some problem, you can consult with us, but you should come if there is any other problem. So for video consultations, we have Asian Connect app. You can take an appointment from there and you can consult with us. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Your questions are invited. Uh, There are few questions are there that can you provide us e-certificate? This was a general awareness webinar. We have this is not for giving e-certificates. Thank you, Baba Tabassum, for appreciating our this presentation. Gautam Vij, thank you, Gautam Vij. Thanks. Any questions? I think we can conclude here.
Yeah, if there is no question, then we can conclude.
Thank you all from Asian Institute of Medical Sciences, me, Dr. Pankaj Hans and Dr. Ved Prakash. Thanks to all.
There is a question. Go a video consultation first time can be done through appointment. Yes, it is possible. Mr. Kundan, it is possible. You can take the video consultation appointment by going on the Asian site. You have the option of taking consultation, whatever you like to do.
Yes, and in case you require any surgery or if your problem is like we can manage by medications, there is no need to come. And if you require any surgical correction, yes, at that time you have to come to the hospital. Thank you, Ramesh. So can we complete? Can we conclude?
We have completed on time. This is only 4:40.
And thank you all
Thank you all for attending this.
for attending this webinar, and stay safe, stay healthy. And the last line which I want to say that एक ऐसे ही मेरे दिमाग में आया कि मंजिलें जिद्दी हैं, रास्ते जिद्दी हैं, फर्क नहीं पड़ता मगर क्योंकि हमारे हौसले भी जिद्दी हैं. एंड विद दिस हौसलास वी हैव टू fight against corona, and we will win, we will come out. Stay happy, stay healthy, and God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.